Alright, my friends, welcome back to this quiz. So, yes, we got finished here talking about this first cycle low after dad turns up and the rule of three, where the price action came down and hit support 3 times. And the third time is the time that we were looking to buy. 1, 2, and 3. Did come back down a 4th time. But so what I wanted to do was to explain the psychology of the rule of 3. So the psychology of the rule of 3 and why it works so often is that the market comes down and stops there. Okay. Comes back up and then goes back down. So now, the first time that we test this previous low here, this previous cycle low, then people are kind of watching that because that's where the market stopped before. And it goes back to what we've talked about in the past as far as the auction place theory goes, where people are wondering, okay, well, how much is this market worth, more or less? And they're always kind of wondering what other people are thinking too, because, well, that matters, right? In trading, this is one area where it does matter what other people are thinking because you need somebody on the other side of your trade. So you've got to take that into consideration. So at major highs and lows, this is what everybody, well, not everybody, but most people are looking at, especially experienced traders, is they're saying, okay, well, the last time we came down here, it didn't go down any further. So we caught the attention of buyers because evidently they were saying, well, down here at these prices, heck, yeah, we came down enough that I'm interested in maybe picking up some crude oil here. All right, didn't go up too much though, came back down. But everybody's looking at that now. Now it's automatically a support level. And they're watching to see if it breaks through. If it doesn't, then what's going on through their mind? Well, now what's going through their mind is they're saying, oh, we bounced off it a second time. So when we've come down here twice now, we get more buyers at this price. Maybe there's a bunch of people who are buying low. And when it comes back down one more time and does not break through that level, then they say, oh, yeah, okay, well, yep, every time it comes down here, we get more buyers coming in. So now the sentiment of the entire market or the majority of the market has changed. And people are saying, we feel that this is a good value. Remember the difference between growth and value? Now, this is on a very minuscule scale because we're talking about a very short-term intraday chart, of course. But it's the same kind of general principle. And so one more time, boom, and then it goes screaming up. Okay, so that's on that. All right, so now that you understand the top dog trading rule of 3, why that applies, and why that added to the probability of our trade, looking at that. So we're looking at the pluses and the minuses. Okay, now looking at the longer term chart, we've got a very cool pattern right here that I love. So don't know if you caught that. Probably most of you did not. By the way, first of all, we do have mom angling up, so that's the confirmation that we needed on the long-term chart. But this is a second chance pattern. This is a second chance indicator pattern. And what is that second chance indicator pattern? Very few people will probably have gotten this, but it is the upside down mitten pattern. What? Upside down mitten pattern? What is that? Well, it's in Foundations Course 1. In the manual. Yep, go check it out. It's right there. One of the first things you ever did with Top Dog Trading was read the Foundations Course 1 manual, and I'll bet most of you didn't even put this to memory. So the mitten pattern is, well, what does a mitten look like? Okay, so a mitten looks like, excuse my drawing, but so let's say this is the wrist down here, okay? And then the fingers go in this mitten part, right? And then you get the little thumb that comes out. And that's it. That's what a mitten looks like. A really ugly, bad mitten. So a left-handed mitten, the fingers go inside the mitten here, and then you get your thumb over there. And your wrist is down there. Got to really point that out because that is such a horrible drawing. And I'm from the state of Michigan, so I used to, when I first came out with this, I called it the Michigan pattern because Michigan looks like a mitten. That actually looked like kind of like a cat looking up to the sky to the left. But anyway, if you ever look at the state of Michigan, it is in the form of a mitten. It looks very much like a mitten. And the lower peninsula part does anyway. So I started calling it the Michigan pattern, and nobody knew what I was talking about because most people weren't familiar enough with geography to know that Michigan is probably the most unique looking state because it's in the shape of a mitten. Okay, so then I said, all right, well, people don't know the state of Michigan, so we'll just call it the mitten pattern. So that's what we call it now. And that's what it is here. Did I draw it yet? I don't think so. Let's do this. So get my pen out. All right, so here it is. And it can be kind of crude sometimes, but basically, again, it's rounded here, and then it comes down. So that's where the fingers go. That's where the 4 fingers are. And then it comes down at a sharp angle and goes up at a sharp angle. And this is kind of the key. It's almost like a cup type pattern, if you've learned cup and handle patterns, that kind of stuff. Kind of like that. But the key is it's basically rounded here, and then a sharp downturn and a sharp up move. And that's your trigger. It is right there. So I love these patterns. These to me are better than mini divergence patterns. Some people look at the 6-second chance patterns and they say, oh, they're all really mini divergence patterns. Well, they do have that in common for most of them, but the mitten pattern does not. It does not. And I really like this one. But I will say that it's probably the one that is least remembered or identified or as easily recognizable as some of the others. So, but I do encourage you, by the way, go back to Foundations Course 1. It's in the manual, and look through all 6-second chance patterns. I find that even a lot of my students think that the only pattern we're treating on the stochastic is the mini divergence. No, that's only one of 6. You bought the course. Take advantage of the other 5. All right, so there you go. Probably a lot of you learned something new right there. Now, what else do we have going for us on this? Well, we also have we have concurrent cycle lows. All right, I'm going to take the mitten pattern off there because I don't want to get too messy here. Just want to focus on what I'm talking about at the moment. So concurrent cycle lows. So that's in our favor. We always like concurrent cycle lows or concurrent cycle highs. Another thing that's in our favor is that we also have concurrent setups. So our setup here, of course, is, again, the first cycle low after dad turns up. Our setup over here is a second retrace in the trend. We've got a wave 4. So the 50 MA is angling up, and we can actually trade this as an aggressive cherry picking trade. So this is awesome, right? These are, again, fewer better trades. If you remember, I talk in the courses and some of the bonus videos about fewer better trades, how to increase your probability on every trade. There's a video on that, might be several, I forget now, I don't look at my own courses anymore. But yeah, we've got at least one video in there that talks about how to get fewer better trades, how to improve your win-loss ratio. And it is stuff like this, looking for concurrent cycle lows, looking for concurrent setups. These things are not required, but they are more stringent rules, and they will definitely increase your win-loss ratio. So if you're having trouble with the top-down trading method at all in any way, shape, or form, you're probably not adhering to the really strict rules. And if you are and you're still having problems, then go to the fewer better trades where you're looking for these kind of extra things. Add these to your rules. Add these. Make these part of your trading method where you've got to have concurrent cycle highs and lows, where you've got to have concurrent setups. Will you get fewer trades? Absolutely. But you're going to get higher probability trades, and that's going to increase your statistics tremendously. Okay, so that's, I think, pretty much it. I think I've covered it for this trade setup here. So as you can see, so you could take this either as a scalping trade or as a cherry picking trade. And, it goes up here, by the way. Actually, let me pull this over here. Take these, this off of there. Kind of drives me crazy, frankly. I hate these global crosshairs. I never use them in my own trading. Why did that? Oh, I didn't take it off. Okay, we'll just go to the pointer. Okay, so, yeah. Anyway, we pretty much covered that. We've got this pattern here, and then all I was going to do is show the close here. So the market closes somewhere in here. So after we go up from here, the end of the day, okay, this is where we take the trade, boom. This is yesterday's low, by the way. So yesterday's low is obviously going to be support resistance, as it was here. And so then we get, again, 1, 2, 3, and it goes back down. So just wanted to show you the rule of 3 occurred there again at the close of the day.